Hello, Blue Jays fans, and welcome to Sunny Side of the Dome. I'm your host, Karen Soutar, and I'm here to talk some Blue Jays baseball with you for the next half hour or so. Sunny Side of the Dome is brought to you by Jays from the Couch. We stream live Thursdays at 6 p.m., and you can find us on Jays from the Couch's YouTube channel or Facebook or Twitter pages. And if you are following along live and you think of a question or a comment, please do send it all in. I love that interaction with the fans. I think it makes the show that much more that's much greater. And if you missed the live version, but you still want to check it out, no problem. When you're ready for us, we're ready for you. You can catch the archive version on any one of those aforementioned medium, Facebook, Twitter, or the YouTube channel. And if you like the content here at Sunnyside of the Dome, there's lots more where that came from. There's Jays from the Couch's main podcast, Mondays at 6 p.m. That's hosted by Shaun Doyle, our editor, senior editor-in-chief, founder, and he's always got lots of interesting stuff to check out. Other people to share views with, the fake news segment, different guests. And you can also download that and listen to it as a radio podcast, as well as watching it on any of those other medium. And the other YouTube show you should definitely check out if you haven't been is the On Feck Circle. That's Tuesdays at 6 p.m. That's hosted by Steve Feck, my Jays from the Couch colleague, with lots of insights, very unique perspectives on everything. He's smart, he's unique, he is entertaining and informative. So check that out if you haven't been at the On Feck Circle, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. And hello, Blue Jays fans. How's it going? Happy Thursday evening, excuse me, and long time no see, long time no chat. I've been on the injured list. Unfortunately, I came down with something, does not appear to have been COVID. I was tested a few times and it all came back negative. But still, I was pretty sick for a while, so I had to take some time and get better. And I'm pretty much healthy now. Excuse me, the only after effect, unfortunately, has been a bit of a dry, scratchy throat and some coughing here and there. So I really hope that doesn't happen while we're on the air. That would not be a lot of fun to watch and listen to. So excuse me as I really take avail of the water and everything I can to keep my vocal cords lubricated and all of that. But anyway, so lots to talk about today. Yes, our Blue Jays are off and guaranteed not to lose today. Yay! that's what it seems to have come to over the last week and a half or so. But I'll be giving my thoughts on that in a bit. But first off, as always, leading off transactions, and since I've been away for a while, there have been a few, so since I don't want to spend the whole half an hour talking about just that, I want to do my best to summarize the comings and goings. So there's been a lot of up, down, up, down. Pitcher Bowden Francis was called up, optioned, called back up, and then optioned again. So bit of a roller coaster ride for him. Anthony Kay, who the last time I did this show, he was up with the big club. He was optioned, and it's really too bad. I mean, I'm not saying I think Anthony Kay is going to win the MLB Cy Young Award someday. I feel like he's got more talent than we've really seen in MLB, and I wish they could find a way to get him some consistent work and keep him in the majors so that he can develop and we can see the best that he has to offer. But in any case, he's back with AAA for now, and see how long it is before they feel that they need him and that they can call him back up. Kevin Biggio, he went on the COVID IL a while back, and we didn't really see that much of him or hear that much of him. And He's actually begun a rehab assignment with AAA Buffalo. He's gotten into 2 games. He's had a couple of hits, so all the best to him. I'm still a big Biggio fan, even though he's really struggled at the plate so far in this season, and I'm really hoping he can turn it around. Left-handed pitcher Andrew Vasquez, he was called up, got into a couple games, and then he was optioned back down as well. So there's depth options in the minors. Again, it just depends on who performs well, who they think can help them in the majors, and when there's a need for whatever reason or another. Excuse me just a moment. So yes, Andrew Vasquez, and yes, another left-handed pitcher, Ryan Baraki. He went on the injured list, but he's already back. He's been called back to the Jays and has gotten into a game. Tyler Heineman, a catcher, he was recalled, so he's with the Jays. The Jays are actually going with 3 catchers on the roster currently. So Alejandro Kirk, um, Zach Collins, as well as Tyler Heineman. So interesting roster construction there. And Danny Jansen has actually started a rehab assignment. Finally, he was so hot in the few games that he played in to start the season, and then got injured. So really hoping he can come back healthy, because he seems like a pretty big contributor, or that he has that potential when he's healthy. Vinny Capra, he was called up from AAA. He made his major league debut. He's position player. He's sort of a little bit of an utility player. He's played both infield and outfield. So and speaking of utility type players, Gatsuki Kato, he was unfortunately optioned, and then they wanted another spot on the 40-man roster, so he was designated for assignment, and he's been claimed by the Mets. So a lot of people, including me, seem to be fairly sorry to see him go. And I mean, he only played a handful of games with the Blue Jays. I just kind of feel like, had they kept him around, he's someone that maybe could have helped them. Again, not necessarily as an all-star, but in more of a utility type of role. But oh well, he got his start as far as a major league player with the Blue Jays. So all the best to him. Hope he has a great career with the Mets or wherever else he might end up. Um, Teoscar Hernandez, he missed some time, and he was definitely missed. So he went on a rehab assignment for a few games, and now he's back with the Blue Jays. So great to have him back in the lineup, and can't wait. Uh, Not surprisingly, he hasn't really hit like the Teoscar that we know that he can, but I'm sure it's coming. He's understandably rusty, and he will get back to being the Hernandez that we know. So can't wait to see it. Casey Lawrence, another pitcher, he was called up, got some game action, and now he's been optioned back down. Um, Hanjin Ryu has been on a rehab assignment. He pitched a start with the Buffalo Bisons last Saturday, and apparently the Blue Jays plan to start him with the Major League Club this coming Saturday versus Tampa Bay. So we'll see how that goes. Julian Merriweather, he was with the Blue Jays. He's been optioned down to AAA. So another one. I mean, his stuff. He's had all the talent in the world. He just can't seem to find the consistent success in Major League Baseball, which is really too bad. Maybe he'll find something in the minors and be called back up at some point. We can only hope. And lastly, an interesting signing. So the Blue Jays signed a free agent pitcher to a minor league deal, a left-handed pitcher. Who among you remembers the name Derek Holland? So it's a minor league deal. Derek Holland, if you recall who he is, maybe some of you do. He's a veteran. He's had some major league experience. He became known to Blue Jays fans because he was with the Texas Rangers in 2015, and when they faced each other in the playoffs, and he quite famously took one of the Blue Jays rally towels that they were giving away in Toronto and decided it would be funny to wipe his butt with one of them. So, anyway, hopefully he's matured since then, but he's with the organization now on a minor league deal, and his stats the last couple of years haven't really been anything impressive. Hence the minor league deal to see if he still has something left in the tank or what, and maybe he can work his way back if performance merits it. So, excuse me. All right. So now on to the heart of tonight's order. So talking about our Blue Jays, and they started the season really, really good. They were in first place for quite some time. They made it through the entire month of April without losing a series. They won every series other than a 4-game series that they played in New York against the Yankees, and they split that series 2 games each. So they didn't lose any series. And I mean, you do, if you understand Major League Baseball and the 162 game season and the whole marathon that it is, you know that it was coming at some point. It's just a question of when. So the Blue Jays managed admirably well with one of the tougher schedules in terms of the strength of their opponents in all of MLB. And they went through a pretty tough stretch, and they came out of it with a record of 10-6. So that was pretty good. The last 3 series have been against the New York Yankees in Toronto, Cleveland Guardians in Cleveland, and then a quick 2-game series again against the Yankees in New York. So I mean, it's not even May the 15th, it's May 12th, and the Jays have been to New York to play the Yankees twice already. Crazy schedule. In any case, so yes, over the last 3 series, it's been the first time all season that the Toronto Blue Jays have struggled. So it's been unfortunate. They've lost all 3 series. In the 9 games, they have a record of 2-7. So it hasn't been fun. And I mean, I'm on social media way too much, particularly Twitter, and I follow a lot of Blue Jays fans, and there have been lots of comments. Excuse me. Understandably so, because it is difficult times, and if you're a fan, if you're a sports fan, if you love a particular team or teams the way I do and the way that I know a lot of other people do, it's tough to see them struggle. The frustration is there. The frustration is there for us fans, certainly there for the players. I mean, I was working yesterday during the day, but I saw some highlights or lowlights, and Guerrero Jr. being so frustrated that he broke a bat over his own leg. So, yes, we know what a very strong young man that he is. But yeah, I mean, it's frustrating times. How we deal with the frustration. I mean, the players and the coaches, they're the ones that have to turn all of this around. And I don't have any doubt that they're going to turn it around. Those of us who are fans, we, as much as we might like to joke sometimes, we don't have any control over the results on the field. We can go to the games, we can cheer for our guys, but I mean, the on field performance or lack of performance, that's not us. That's the players that do that. So, what we can do, the only thing that we can do as our fans, is to control and manage our own reactions to what goes on. Excuse me just a moment as I try to control my own self and my vocal cords and ability to speak. um, yeah, so there's been a lot of extreme frustration. There have been people venting that frustration, And the way a lot of people are talking, it's like they think the season is already over after a bad 9 game stretch. Over 162 games. You know what 9 games is? It's not even 6% of the schedule. It's like 5.5% of the schedule. Yeah, they're going to struggle. Everybody struggles. It's how you bounce back from it that matters. And as fans, those of you who are having extreme reactions, I am normally of the mind that people are allowed to be fans in any way they want to be fans. And it's up to each of us how we take all of this and react to it. If I may, and this might be as bold and directive as I ever get toward another person, if I might suggest this, I think you're overreacting if that's how you're feeling about it. I think you really need to put this in perspective. So in order to help everybody try to do that, I mean, first off, look at the team that they've got. This isn't a bunch of rookies. These are guys, I mean, some players like Alec Manoa, he was a rookie last year, so we had to see if there would be a sophomore jinx, and knock on wood, it's still fairly early in the season, but it doesn't look like that's happening. If anything, he seems to have improved that much from his very good rookie campaign last year. And most of these other guys, they're young veterans, or they're in MLB terms, they're maybe not that young, such as a George Springer. So yeah, he's a veteran. He's been around. He's seen what it takes to win, and he seems to have assumed a bit of a leadership role on this team, which is a good thing. I mean, he's been there. He's seen what it takes to win. Um, excuse me, just one second. Sorry for the coughing. Yeah, so one thing that I did in preparation for today's show is I took a look back at the last 6 teams to win the MLB World Series. And I looked at their schedule over the regular season, and I made a note of what some of their worst stretches were in terms of their performance. So just to try to put it in perspective as far as our Blue Jays and where they're still hoping to finish, and excuse me, sorry, and where they still very can still very well can finish, excuse me. So starting with the most recent and working backwards, 2021 Atlanta. So just to start off the season from April 1st through the 14th, they were 4-8. I mean, this is a team that had a 33% win percentage through the first half a month. I mean, were people jumping off their bandwagon at that point? I don't know, because I'm not particularly a fan of theirs. But so yeah, that was April 1st through the 14th. Then they won some games, and then April 29th through May the 13th. Sorry, they had another difficult stretch where they won only 5 and lost 8. So again, I mean, the losses were kind of mounting for them in the entire month of June. This is a championship team. They were sub 500 in the month of June. They won 13 and they lost 15. So again, keep all of that in mind when you feel like the sky is falling and they can't possibly rebound or anything like that. In 2020, the COVID shortened 60-game regular season, which saw the LA Dodgers won their first championship. That was a bit of an anomaly. Like, you almost can't compare it because of the short season. The worst stretch of games I could find for them was September 5th through 12th. They won 2 and lost 4. So, but again, I mean, we don't know, we'll never know what would have happened had that team played a full 162 games. So, yeah. But still, I mean, even they went through a small period of time when they were losing more than they were winning, and the wheels weren't falling off, the sky wasn't falling, and they rebounded and did pretty well to win a championship. Then go back a year before that, the 2019 Washington Nationals, Remember them? Oh my goodness. They had some stretches of games. They really weren't that good actually for the first couple of months of the season, and then they really picked things up. So in games 1 through 22, they were a 500 team. They were 11-11, and then from April 24th, excuse me, through May the 23rd, they were well under 500. They only won 8 games, and they lost 20. And that left them through late May through 50 games, I believe. Yeah, sorry, yeah, my apologies. I'm kind of adding on the fly here. So yeah, um, through their first 50 games, they were 19-31. Well under 500, and there were some people that thought that they were done for the season at this point, and they weren't done, and they really went on a run. They had some very good starting pitching, and they ended up winning it all. So excuse me. All right, so the year before that, the Boston Red Sox in 2018, they were more or less solid for a good part of the season. I couldn't really find too many prolonged cold streaks for them. They had a stretch of 7 games in April where they were 2-5. They had another stretch in May where there were 3-5. 5 game stretch in June where they were 1-4. Also in August they were 2-6 at one point, and September they were 4-7. So like every month they went through a tiny patch of games where they weren't at their best, but they were a pretty solid team, and ended up winning it all. So that was the 2018 Red Sox. The 2017 Houston Astros, they were up and down. They certainly had their cold streaks. So in from May, excuse me, May 19th through 24th, they were 2-4. June 6th through June 13th, say that 5 times fast, they were 2-6. And they had a stretch from July 29th through August the 12th, where they were only 3-11. Yikes. And then again in September 8th through the 13th, they were 1-5. So there are ebbs and flows to the MLB season. Last one that I made a note of was the 2016 Chicago Cubs. Remember them? That's the last time that the Blue Jays, other than 2020, which was such an anomaly with the 60-game regular season and expanded playoffs, that was the last time that the Blue Jays made the playoffs under the old parameters of 5 teams per league and 162 games in the regular season. So while the Blue Jays were doing that, the Chicago Cubs were putting together a championship season. During the regular season, they had a stretch from May 11th through the 23rd where they were 4-8, and another stretch, and this opened my eyes actually, from June 20th through July the 9th. They had a 20-game stretch where they only won 5 games. They were 5-15. Yikes. Like that's even worse than the Blue Jays just did. The winning percentage is a little less, and it's over a much longer period of time. So the moral of the story, and I really hope that everyone took that from those stats, is that it's far too early. And I'm hearing this year a lot of people saying after last year, I don't want to hear it's early. Well, you know what? It's early. And when I say that, just for clarification, I am not saying it's early, therefore losing games doesn't matter. Losing games does matter. And sometimes losing games means you have to take a look at your team and see what is working and what isn't working. If something isn't working and there are ways to make internal adjustments or upgrades, then fine. If you have to go outside the organization for reinforcements, then definitely look at that too. But what it doesn't mean is that the sky is falling, is that it's too late to turn it around. And I just really, really wish people would stop thinking that this is it, that it's too early to turn things around, and they're not going to do anything this season. I don't think that's realistic. I think those people are just bringing themselves down for no good reason, and maybe other people too. So, excuse me. All right. Well, we're just about at the end of time for today, and that brings me to through Blue Jay covered glasses. So, want to stay with the main theme of today. Want to talk about the team and where I think they're going this season. I still absolutely have faith in them. They've had a rough patch, they've had some bad luck while it's been going on, and I just think there's too much talent on this team for them to not make the playoffs. I'm still expecting a very deep run from them this season, and I'm very excited about it. Like when Bo Bichette was struggling mightily at the plate earlier in the season, and he certainly was not the only one, but he's one that some people were willing to give up on him. Wasn't sure if he would ever turn it around. Well, he's turned it around. If you've been paying attention to his numbers in the month of May, he is absolutely red hot. He's one of the Blue Jays' best hitters currently for the month. Alejandro Kirk, he wasn't hitting too well. He has picked up his offense as well, also in the month of May. George Springer, he's been one of the most consistent Blue Jays all season. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., he was hot lately. He hasn't hit as much, but again, he's one guy that I have no doubt about whatsoever. I think Teoscar Hernandez, now that he's back, and once he gets back to hitting the way we all know that he can, he's going to provide that protection, and it is all going to work itself out. I don't have any doubt of that whatsoever. I wanted to give a quick shout out to someone who, as far as I'm concerned, has really exceeded expectations, and that's Santiago Espinal. Now, from the moment I first saw him play in a major league uniform, and that was back in 2020, that there's never been anything about him that I didn't like. I thought he was a very good player. I thought he was very useful in a lot of different ways, that he was someone who could help the Blue Jays and help them win games. And each year he's improved his game and he's elevated his performance and all of that. And once upon a time, I saw him more as a utility player, maybe a bench player who could do some different things, maybe come in when someone needed a day off, play some defense. Santiago Espinal has taken the everyday second baseman job, and he has really run with it. And his numbers, both offensively and defensively, compare very well to other American League second basemen. Defensively, if you look at outs above average, he is second best in the American League with +5. Jonathan Schoop, I'm sorry, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, with the Detroit Tigers has had slightly better numbers defensively, at least at +7. Although Jonathan Schoop, with his woeful offensive numbers, he's not going to the All-Star team. Espinal offensively in weighted runs created is +130. That's very good, especially for a middle infielder whose defense is very good. That ranks him third in the American League among second basemen. And the reason I've got that in quotes is number 2 ranked DJ LeMahieu of the New York Yankees has actually spent more time playing third base than he has second. So I don't think he should go to the All-Star game, not as a second baseman. He's either good enough to get in as a third baseman or he's not. But I've been so impressed with Espinal. I think he warrants all-star consideration based on those numbers. I don't know if he'll get in. I think he should, but we'll see about that. But yes, that's that this whole team has just got so much talent top to bottom, and we haven't seen the best that they have to offer, not by a long shot. I'm not worried about them. Try not to let the losses get you down, and they will return to winning, and they're going to win this division, and they're going to give us fans a deep playoff run. And when it happens, I'm one of the people that never stop believing. So, anyway, that's all that we're going to do today. I want to thank everybody for sticking with me. And again, pardon my voice and my talking. Hopefully it'll be a little better next week, like our Blue Days. But thanks for tuning in. And go Blue Days. See you again.